I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
It's a Riverdale after show. We got Reggie being in a pickle because he wants to get all the tickles. We got Archie and Betty holding hands. When is this gonna end? Honey gets a streak on. Who's sending videos? Who cares? Who knows? We'll try to find out before the end of this show. It's a Riverdale after show, everybody. Welcome. There you go. The lack of full music kind of makes this off-the-cuff spewing, my spitting game, a little rough, but thank you for joining us. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Riverdale After Show, breaking down all the craziness that happens on Riverdale, airing Wednesday nights there on the CW. I'm Frank Moran.
And I'm Katie. I'm in the chat again tonight. So I saw you guys kind of got started a while ago. I took down some notes. But just remember, we are going to do our class clown, class president. So just be thinking about that again. And if you have any predictions, because we on the end game toward the finale now. So
absolutely. Like us on Facebook, give us those 5 stars on iTunes, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And as Katie's mentioned, the chat is up and running. So hop in there. But if you're watching after we stream live, feel free to comment down below. As Katie also mentioned, we'll be doing class president and class clown. We'll also do a little bit of news at the end of the episode as well. But before we dive into detail about this episode, Katie, what did you think overall?
I thought, compared to what the last 2 episodes have been like, where they kind of forgot a lot of the plot points that they started about before this whole Jughead dying thing, it kind of seemed like they were like, oh, we forgot about this stuff. So now we have another episode where we pick up all these loose ends. So it felt just a little weird after the pacing of the past episodes. It just felt as if they weren't sure which direction to go, if that makes sense. It just was like, oh, another episode that's back before all this happened. And I thought we were just moving on from like the whole tickling plot and the rum business, because they hadn't mentioned it for probably about 4 episodes. So it was a little weird to me.
Yeah, all right, let's dive into the hottest storyline that Riverdale's ever done, and that is the exciting and dangerous world of tickle videos.
Yeah.
So this finally comes around again when Reggie catches wind that Fang and Kevin are just raking in the big bucks and wants in on that sweet deal. And once he finds out it's tickle videos and he does one, he goes, hey, why do we need this guy? Let's just do our own content, cut out the middleman. Katie, at that moment, I realized that this is only going to go downhill. Did you think this had any chance of success?
No, not at all. Literally, when we get to our special segment, I have some major problems having to decide which to do, because as soon as Reggie said that, I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be bad." What could possibly happen when teenagers try to mess with a big dude that's an adult that's trying to run his own empire? I mean, have they seen no movies that could tip them off? This might not be a good idea. It's just, yeah. Unless they had Hiram on their side, then maybe. But yeah, I was just like, this is gonna go bad. This is gonna go bad.
I at least appreciated they put in one scene of Reggie as he tells Kevin and Fang, hey, I can get a lot of people, get a lot of talent, to watch him inside the football locker room trying to get players to do this with him. And they're like, I say, what? What are you thinking? So they do reach a deal with Tony. It's like, hey, we can have the girls tickle us. First, they want the guys to tickle the girls. And Tony's not about that. It's like, hey, we got to show empowerment. So we will tickle you guys. That's the way it goes. So but did it seem like he was like because Reggie and Tony set up this big party where they draw names out of a football helmet for who's going to go in and film these. But it seems like they cut to Kevin and Fang in there, and they look miserable about this. I feel like it got away from them that this is happening.
I mean, that's obvious. I mean, especially after what they've been used to. I was more just thinking, really, they brought everybody in on this?
Yeah, that's right.
Just stayed between just the 2 of them. Like, don't let everybody know that you're doing this.
We also get to see that Reggie makes Kevin do the dirty work, where it's like, you got to tell the other guy that, hey, we're done. Yeah. And it seems to go very pleasant. Did you think that was the end of it when they have the conversation over there at Pops and he's like, all right, hey, I appreciate it. Well, best of luck to you, Kevin. I'll see you later.
If it wasn't for the motive that he was going for, it would have been okay. But knowing that he was going to go back and still make tickle fetish videos, but trying to make his own money and not being with him, I was like, this is not going to go well now. If it was literally just, I want to be out of it, I want to go to college, I think the dude would have been fine with it. But
I did appreciate the excruciating scene when the guy does catch wind of what's going down, and he goes to confront Kevin back at Pops, and he brings in his two thugs who do the hey, I'll break your fingers by bending it back deal. That did not look pleasant.
no, not at all.
Not my tickle fingers. Don't take away my tickle fingers.
Like in normal situations, obviously that still would not be fun, but considering that is the actual thing that they need, I understood the poignancy of it. But yeah. And I was thinking, does this all he has is two people? Because I'm numbers wise, this isn't gonna be a fair fight.
That's
later
true.
on.
Yeah, it did seem interesting to me because when Reggie finds out, he goes, hey, all right, just invite him over to this hotel room. We'll have a chat. And he comes over and says, hey, you know what? I'm going to bring in all the football team. And because you're so rude and you tried to hurt Kevin, I'm not going to give you 40% like you wanted. I'm going to give you 0. So get the heck out of here. And the guy says, "What? You're causing a problem." And Reggie says, "Hey, if you touch Kevin, the boys are going to come down on you." Would you be? Does that seem like that intimidating? I don't know.
When all the guys are approaching him, you mean in the hotel?
In the hotel, do you feel like is just having the football team just standing there in the hotel room, is that sufficient intimidation that you think that any guy that is already going to bring 2 guys to break fingers is maybe in the moment will say like, all right, I'll just leave because this isn't a smart situation, but it's not over.
I don't think I didn't believe it was over. I mean, I don't think they would be intimidated that easily by a bunch of high school jocks. I don't know. Like if me personally, I'd be like, bye. But with the normal situation, I don't think so. It takes a lot more in Riverdale, especially.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the thing that was frustrating is that then Principal Honey calls them in and says, hey, I've got a call about these tickle videos. And he says, all right, you got to take this down. And I did like that Kevin stands up and says, hey, yeah, we were doing these tickle videos, but it was, off school property on our own time. And there was no nudity. We all had our clothes on the entire time. So I was like, all right, Kevin, way to stand up. But when Principal Honey says, hey, dum-dums, you also had some videos that had school logos in them. So now it is my problem, and you got to take it down.
Yeah.
For me, did it seem like that they are abandoning tickle videos? Or for me, I would just say, well, we'll take down any video that has school logo stuff on them. But you can't take down the whole thing.
I think it was they were agreeing to taking down the ones with the school logo on it. Because when that first started, I was thinking, how can the principal tell them not to do something that's not happening on school property? How can he tell them not to do things that have nothing to do with school? And that's what I first typed in my notes, was I don't understand how that works. And then as soon as he mentioned, you're in school uniforms, which means I am allowed to address that. So I felt like it was them agreeing to take down ones that are associated with the school, but not quit altogether. So, and I don't know that they would listen to him anyway. It's like, they'd be like, yeah, sure, dude, we'll take him down.
Because I feel like that's as Reggie did say, what I did like is like, hey man, this could pay for all our community college.
Yeah.
So like, all right, we don't want to leave that. But they do mention like, hey, I wonder who made that call. Do you think it was the guy, the producer that they cut out, or do you think like Kevin made that phone call?
Do I think Kevin made the phone call?
Yeah, because it felt like they like, why have that scene? Otherwise, like we would assume we would think that guy called it in, but the fact that they called it out in the scene, like, hey, I wonder who made that phone call
to tell him about the videos.
Yes.
I honestly don't think there was anyone who called. I think that Mr. Honey found the video and just made up an excuse saying someone.
Okay, all right.
Given what we learned later on about Mr. Honey, I'm not so certain he didn't just stumble upon a video himself.
All right. Well, speaking of videos, we do have Jughead and Charles trying to get more information about who's behind these videos. Thankfully, they play it for Alice and FP and Betty, so they can see what's going on.
Yeah.
But the trail leads them initially to Ethel.
Yes.
And I feel like Ethel's the sort of character now that if you're going to bring her in for an episode, then you know that there's something wrong. Right? Because it's like,
on a side note, our chat agrees that it was kind of dumb that they were wearing the high school clothing, uniforms, and Gratian said it was obviously Honey. So he had that same line of thought as I did, that it was Honey involved. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I don't know if it was just stupidity or sheer laziness for the kids when they're filming the tickle videos. It's like, I just keep my clothes on. It's fine. This is what I wore. Yeah. I read, you're like, who cares?
They were just wanting to make money, so they didn't think it through all the way, which, I mean, I understand. There's a lot of people that think that way, like money first, think about it later. So.
I guess so, but if you have the smarts to set up your own paywall tickle video website, you should have the smarts to think about, like, what could get us in trouble? Oh, maybe showing school logos. And you know enough not to shoot it on school property, then you should be smart to, like, well, we can't have anything school related in it. But still.
I don't think they think that far ahead, honestly.
All right, so Katie, what did you think about seeing your girl Ethel back?
I mean, I like Ethel. She's been through some serious stuff. So I feel like she's just trying to get through high school the best that she can. It was a little weird in the way that she came back saying, oh yeah, there's this secret room. Which, by the way, I mean, how stupid were they to not know that there was a secret room in that little town video shop? I mean, every TV show or movie I've seen with a video store in it has always had a back room. So I just kind of felt like it was ridiculous that Ethel was the one that brought it up. But then later on, the video guy goes, you have to be 18 or over to be in here. It's like, Ethel's not 18, but she's been in there, dude, so now you care?
When we do find out about, I think it was the Scarlet Room, is that whatever it was, inside this video store, it didn't seem like it was that hard to find. It's just like in the back of the establishment to the left. There's no like hidden door or passage.
No, the curtain.
Yes, it's there. So how they didn't even notice that on their, because Jughead and Charles go there earlier to find out, hey, people have been renting videos from there. They don't see that on their first walkthrough.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they have tunnel vision, which if you're not looking for it, I get. You might, I guess, like if you think about it, you might think, oh, it's back behind somewhere that's only for employees. Maybe that's the case. But usually, I mean, I do find it weird they wouldn't check there. But we obviously don't trust Charles either. So maybe he did know about it and he's just not saying anything about it. And all of our chat is saying poor Ethel. I agree. She can't catch a break. You guys are not wrong.
Well, no, I mean, because I feel like the show just always brings her back to first kind of tell a half truth about something, and then it gets revealed that she really knows more than what she's saying, and then she's got to go, no, this is the truth, and I don't know anything else, I swear. So I feel like I've seen that played too many times with Ethel that I'm like, all right, as soon as I see her, I'm like, okay, she does know more about this. Yeah, she does know more about this. I just know always where it's going.
We learned a lot about Ethel, though, so Scarlet Suite.
The Scarlet Suite.
That's what it was called. Correct.
Oh,
Thank you, Tina Ann. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a suite is much more fancier than a room. Absolutely.
And doesn't sound as scandalous either.
And so it's crazy that this place it rents like bootleg or just weird videos, whether it could be snuff films, sex tapes, any kind of weird stuff that you can imagine that would be kind of taboo. You can find in the Scarlet Suite. And Jughead finds out that, oh, hey, guess what? There's a video of Jason Blossom getting shot by his dad. Oh, fantastic. So yeah, they do reveal that and say, all right, so this place is not on the up and up. What's going on here? And so uh, we do find out by the end of the episode, they shut down the Scarlet Suite. And we do see the reveal that, oh, hey, guess what? Principal Honey was a avid fan of the Scarlet Suite. I would imagine he's seen the Betty and Jughead sex tape. I imagine he's probably seen that snuff film.
Which is just so wrong on so many levels. But, Crime and Punishment, not really a big in Riverdale. So,
I mean, Jughead is thinking that, hey, maybe Ethel's the one behind the videotape. That's what leads him down this rabbit hole. But knowing that Principal Honey is involved, do you feel like at this point that if they do the reveal that it was Principal Honey behind these videotapes, I mean, I guess it makes sense, maybe? I don't know. I mean, I feel like whoever they reveal, whether it's Charles behind it or Principal Honey, we still haven't seen much from their point of view to make us understand why. So I feel like the writers could make up any reason that they wanted to at this point.
I think they could too. And I think they've proven with the end of this episode that they're a few steps ahead of us in a few tricks that they have coming that we didn't see coming. So they get credit for that in the sense that I mean, I didn't like Principal Honey, but damn, like, all right, they went there.
And I don't know if I necessarily buy that Jughead being the kind of anachronistic kind of guy that he is. He loves old books, he likes old media, things like that, that he had never spent any time in there. Because when he first walks in to the rental place, he's like, oh, whoa, I can't believe a place like this is still around. Like, really, Jughead?
We know he reads books, so maybe that's why. I mean, we don't know how many movies he watches, but it does seem weird that in a small town like that you wouldn't know about it.
Yeah.
Unless it was outside Riverdale, which I don't think it was. So.
No, I think it's just right in there. I mean, they just hopped on over to their local creepy video hut. So. The other exciting storyline we have here this week too is, and I know as a Barchie shipper, Katie, you enjoyed every single moment of Betty and Archie this week.
I did tweet about it because I have thoughts. We all know I have thoughts. In my notes, I put, I liked the moment when Betty burned her journals with all the notes about all of her time loving Archie in a therapeutic standpoint, because I do believe that when you are trying to move on from someone, you do have to kind of do certain steps to prevent yourself from revisiting certain times in your life or rereading old text messages or keeping things people give to you. So there was some sort of therapeutic beauty in that way that she did that. And I do respect her a little bit for realizing, like, yo, what are we doing here? Like, and then when Cheryl came in and said her Cheryl bit, which I loved, Cheryl being with her quote saying, "You've been in love with the idea of Archie." And I feel like that was a very good explanation with how it is in sense of Barchie, is that, do you really? So I'm gonna add, that's where I'm at. Like I said, I'm not fully invested in Barchie, but I think everybody likes the idea of it. So
yeah, I was saddened for Betty as she was burning her old diaries.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that is really diminishing your chances to be in like that Mortified show where they die, where any kind of future content that you can do where it is relying on diving back into old diaries to kind of unearth like your points of view as a young person. Like, Betty, you're giving away gold. You're burning gold there, Betty. Don't do that. But Alice is there and at least convinces her to save one diary.
What's in that one? That's what I want to know.
Ooh, the pink one. It's saved.
Oh.
We do see Archie busily composing a song for Betty. And as they reunite down there in the bunker, first time they do it, they just try to hold hands. The second time, Archie starts singing the song that he's composed for her, and Betty shuts it down. It's like, I don't know that. nope. You love Veronica, I love Jughead. We're probably confused about all the uncertainty in our future, and that's making us feel and act this way. We just got to go back and move on past this. Uh, who do you think they both can move on, or do you think one of them is still kind of clinging to that?
Oh, I think they're both lying to themselves. That's not going to change. Like, no matter if she did burn those and there's significance in that, and she might be the bigger man right now, or, but it's not the end. This is just their way of trying to make both Betty and Archie feel better about what they've been doing so that they have a more clear conscience. And I think that's the only point of this is we know something else is going to happen. But for now, it's ended. But
well, I mean, Cheryl does during the conversation, as you mentioned, she does tell Betty that she thinks that her and Jughead, dare I say, the end game.
Yeah.
Do you agree with Cheryl? Do you think that Jughead and Betty are end game?
As much as I want them to be, unfortunately, I do not think they are end game. Which is sad, because when she said that, I was like, oh, Cheryl's on Team Bughead. Like, yeah, I love it. But with what's going on, I don't think that Bughead is end game.
Whenever Riverdale ends, whether it's next season, a couple more years down the road, do you need the show to end conclusively by saying Betty's with Archie or Betty's with Jughead, or can it just be Betty's with Jughead for now and that's fine?
I think they're in high school, so no matter, depending on where they end it, which obviously they're not going to be in high school when they end it, but I feel like when a show ends, when you try to focus on that, sometimes you lose some of its power. Whatever's best for the story is what needs to happen. Might be Barchi, it might be them being single, it might be Bughead. As long as they consider where those people are at in that time in their lives and why they got there, I think is the more important part of it.
Because I wonder, in this age of revivals, and not saying that who knows when Riverdale ends, but just in the age of revivals overall, I feel sometimes some shows are more reluctant to make a definitive statement at the end, to kind of leave the possibility open for future stories ever.
Yeah.
Would you rather Riverdale end kind of like, oh yeah, anything's possible, or you want some kind of definitive conclusion?
It really depends on the context. I do like when there is this sense of life goes on after this and we don't know what's going to happen. There is some greatness in that. But at the same time, I've also watched shows where I wish they had just ended it because it was better than the way they ended it. But with something like this, and they have a lot of their life to live, a part of me hopes like, oh, maybe when Kevin and them were talking about getting away from it all and going to college and just being away from Riverdale, if they all end up being away from Riverdale, I would be okay with that too. If the end of it is we finally got out of this crap town, I'd be okay with that. So it's really complicated. It really just depends on how the tables turn. But there would be some beauty in we got away.
Yeah.
Alive.
Alive, yes.
Yeah.
Somebody who didn't get out alive has to do with our last storyline. Is we've got Cheryl and Veronica. They get kind of hassled by this rival Maple gang that is mad that Veronica and Cheryl are trying to take their business to the college campuses. Yeah. And so threatening to close down business, Veronica, thinking that it's some of Hiram's cronies, says, yeah, get out of town. And they smash up the Maple Club. And so so Cheryl says, I'm out. I can't get involved in this. And Hiram, once he hears about this, goes to lay a beatdown on one of the members of the rival gang, but falls short of trying to kill him. Do you think that in that moment Hiram says, like, I try to be a better person in that moment, and ends up getting his butt beat because of it? Do you feel like Hiram is being genuine?
Yes and no. I feel like a part of it is he really didn't have the strength to do more. And I think maybe for a brief moment, or he wanted them to think that he had. Because when Veronica goes up and believes that her dad's changed, that could have been part of his plan too. Like, let me prove to my daughter that I've changed, and she'll let up some of the stuff that she's been doing. So it's really hard to know his motives. But at the time, I thought it was genuine. But then afterwards, I didn't. So.
Yeah, it's once Veronica hears that Hiram spared this guy's life because he was trying to be a better person, Veronica says, hey, you know what? I can get in business with you again, Dad. I can take some of your money to help me buy out Cheryl's portion of my company. And because I believe you're a better person now. And then we cut to Hiram going back to that club, and this time not just beating up one of the underlings. He goes after the head guy, shoots him and kills him.
Yeah.
For this, with only one episode left, and I guess we can pick it up next season. This seemed like for Hiram, who's been kind of sidelined, dealing with this kind of medical issue, a lot of it off camera. This seemed like a huge escalation in Hiram from this in this episode.
It did. Maybe it was to set up he's going to go down swinging type thing. It could be that, because we all know he's leaving. So we all know this is part of this plan of his departure from the show, right? Because he's leaving, right? Or is it's her?
Yeah, it's FP and
that's right. Mom. Yeah. So my bad. Sorry, y'all. It's hard to know. Maybe they're leading this to help her character depart, which is probably what they're doing. But yeah. And then I think it was Jazzy Jones was saying Hiram stood up for Veronica, but he still shot someone, so it's hard to root for him. I'm with that. It is, but it's always been hard to root for Hiram since day one when we met him. So, I don't know. Just when I think I've gotten it figured out, they go and throw a curveball. So who even knows at this point?
This far into the show, do you want the parents more involved, less involved, or just the level of involvement they have right now is just fine?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I like some of the parents more than I like others. With Archie's mom, we don't get a lot with, so I do love like FP and Alice, but I feel like when they get involved, there's always their own motives behind it. I think when they're acting as parents, I really like that. When they're actually acting like a parent should, then I do like having more parent contact. But when they're just there to have like their own subplot, sometimes I get a little like annoyed.
And we do get to see Mary this episode real quickly as Archie says, hey, you know what? I'm really getting serious about the Naval Academy. What are the odds Archie goes to the Naval Academy next year?
Slim to none.
And we end the episode with Cheryl calling Betty and Jughead over because she's now gotten a videotape. And in it recreates the shooting of her brother Jason by her father.
That was intense. These endings have been intense the last 2 weeks with those particular videos, because in anybody's life, even not in Riverdale, that would mess you up in the head. Seeing that anyway, So the plot thickens. Yeah,
it's hard not to think it'd be Principal Honey, given what we know now through what the videos that he'd have access to in the Scarlet Suite. So yeah. Folks, as always, though, we'd like to do our class president and class clown. Katie announced it there at the top of the show. So it is now time for you to celebrate the best and mock the worst. Katie, who is your class president and class clown?
Okay, class president's a lot easier than class clown. So I feel like a lot of people had class clown moments in this episode, but my president is going to Cheryl for backing out of the deal with Veronica. I felt like that was a very smart move, that she was like, I need to be out of this. This is bad news. I'm out. So good on Cheryl for that. Class clown. Oh, this one's hard for me because so many people are ridiculous. I am honestly going to say Reggie for thinking that it was a good idea to do his own business against this guy who's very much more invested and able to do damage than they are. Because I could not stand it. I was like, Reggie's now involved in this stupid scheme. Like, can we just move on from this? And so Reggie is my class clown. So.
Kitty, I cannot disagree with you on either of your choices there. I felt like Cheryl's backing out was like one of the rarities of real world sanity leaking its way into Riverdale. Like anybody else in that same situation would absolutely do the same thing that Cheryl did. Like, hey, I thought this would be fun. to get to hang out with you and do this, but this is getting creepy. I gotta go. And of course, Reggie, who, I mean, running your own business is a lot of work, Reggie. I cannot believe that, like, why would you want that? Keep it the status quo, take your cut and be happy.
Oh, no. Well, Jazzy Jones did mention before we started the show that she thinks Mr. Honey is the class clown. I mean, I don't think we'll argue on that either. Just, yeah. And she said president was Cheryl as well. And then External Shockwave said the class clown was Veronica for believing that Hiram had changed. And I will let you, I agree with that too, External Shockwave. That was kind of a very weird, uncharacteristic thing for Veronica to suddenly trust her dad. And then Grayson Ryan said class president, he agrees with Cheryl, class clown, Reggie with Kevin and Fangs for the whole scheme. So I agree I think we're all on the same page in some way, shape, or form. So.
Yeah, my one frustration with Kevin and Fangs is, you see at the end of the episode, they both say, "Hey, we're going to college near each other. Maybe we should continue to see each other." And it's a shame. I actually would be interested to see that relationship develop. I would have loved for the show to give me any more development than they have already. We see it in such drips and drabs that it's hard to root for it. But I would have loved to have seen more of it throughout the course of this season.
Yeah, that is true. I did kind of seem like a forgotten plot that they just kind of left alone because there was so much other going on. So yeah.
I feel like Kevin and Fang's great, and we might see them once next season, and that's it. Yeah. They're like, okay, great. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, tons of news happens all the time, and we're going to throw it over to Katie over at the Blue and Gold to break it all down.
All right. So in the news, I believe Brian will shoot up a picture on the screen. But this was kind of a sweet little thing of news that I thought was a lot of encouragement during these times. Is Mark Consuelos and has been married to Kelly Ripa for 24 years. And he posted a really sweet picture on his Instagram of basically showing it was with her ring finger. And it was just a sweet thing to see that there are lasting marriages. I mean, 24 years is a long time for a lot of people, especially in the entertainment industry. And that was just a little cherry on top that he posted that sweet thing. And he's been posting a few sweet things. They also was a funny story that I wasn't able to find when I was doing my research for this about how his kids don't like the facial hair he's growing during the quarantine, which I thought was kind of funny. There's like them saying they didn't like it. And then on other news, Cami Mendes just had a new movie drop on Netflix called Dangerous Lies. So you can check that out. It kind of seems like it has a mystery feel to it as well. And it's about an hour and a half. So it's not too much of a chunk of movie to bite off. And Lily Reinhart was like, hey, go check this out, which is nice that they're supporting each other. And last but not least, there was some drama online because Lily Reinhart did kind of go on a little rant towards fans who were giving lash toward Cole Sprouse because there was a hashtag Cole Sprouse is, forgot what it was. It was like Cole Sprouse is canceled or cancel Cole Sprouse. I don't know for sure, but it was one of those things. People are basically just spreading negative energy and spreading lies. And so she went online saying she doesn't tolerate bullying. She doesn't like this and just speaking out about it. But those tweets have been deleted since. But if you do want to see it, just type in Lily Reinhart or Riverdale.
Interesting.
So she was defending Cole Sprouse and defending the people who lash out at public eye type things when they really don't know anything about it. So.
Well, I cannot relate it all to Mark Consuelos and growing that quarantine beard.
Yeah.
Yes. Interesting.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap up the show, we've got to do some predictions about what is now the season finale of Riverdale. Katie, do you have anything?
I still think Charles is way more guilty with these tapes. Even whether he's involved with Principal Honey, that was something I did not see coming, but I still think Charles is somewhat behind it. How do we know? Because when they were talking about people dropping off, not seeing people drop off boxes in the Dropbox tapes,
Mm-hmm.
How do we know they're not coming from inside the police station already if they're not seeing anybody drop these tapes off?
I can't argue with that there because next week's episode was not supposed to be the season finale, although the producers say it does end on a cliffhanger. So it can function as a season finale. So the way the previews make it seem, it's setting up Principal Honey as like, oh, he's the one behind everything. I think, again, in classic Riverdale fashion, that it's just another red herring that would lead it to being Charles. So I think it's going to be setting up to like, hey, yeah, Principal Honey's behind this and he's going to take the fall. But we'll find out, as Katie was mentioning, that no, he's just the guy, a patsy for the real threat, which is Charles.
All right. Yeah.
Well, I'm still curious to see. We're going to have to wait till next season, but how this impacts FP and Hermione.
Yeah, because we knew they were supposed to leave at the end of the season. And I have no idea how they're going to get rid of FP, other than the fact that I still stand behind. I think FP's dad is going to come in more episodes once FP's out of the picture. But I don't know how they're getting rid of either of them. There's been no signs. Like, unless chat saw something, I have not seen any breadcrumbs on that situation at all. So
no, that's true, and I feel like sadly that's much like a Kevin and Fang situation. Yeah. Also with the parents, also with Hiram, is there anytime they are on camera, their storylines just automatically just accelerate through the roof. So I could easily see it being like whatever's supposed to be the season finale of this that we see next season, that in one episode we could all of a sudden set up that, oh, FP's got to leave or Hermione's got to leave, and it's all resolved by the end of that episode. You're like, that was really fast.
Yeah, Billie Jean Girl 24, which thanks for being here again, Billie Jean, and a lot of our people in our chat, thinks that it's going to end on a cliffhanger. She does not think the fans are going to like it. Pretty good prediction there, Billie Jean Girl.
That's true. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode of the Riverdale After Show. We're going to be back next week with the now season finale of Riverdale. But as always, thanks for watching. Like us on Facebook. Give us those 5 stars on iTunes. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up while you're there. And thank you, everybody, for hopping in the chat. If you're watching after we stream live, comment down below. And if you want to stay in touch with either Katie or myself after the show's over, Katie, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at KT_Christine, or on the Batwoman or Con Guy shows on AfterBuzz.
Are you playing some games on Twitch?
Yeah, I'm playing Witcher 3. I'm playing some Harry Potter. Today I played NHL, so yeah.
Oh, very nice. Very eclectic mix. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie. Folks, we'll see you back here. I think we're going to make Sunday night again.
Yeah, next Sunday.
Yeah, next Sunday night for the season finale of Riverdale right here on AfterBuzz TV.
Bye, everyone.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.